Welcome to the Museum of Aquarium and Pet History for another 5-minute video. Today we have this box right here and trusty ninja knife. We're going to see what is inside the box that came to the museum from the postman who wants to retire because we get too many boxes. Okay. And I just made that up, by the way. Okay, so in this one, we have, for all you 1960s folks, Metaframe. Ta-da! Your absolute favorite. Everybody loves Metaframe, and all us old-timers that grew up in the 60s and 70s, we remember Metaframe, we use Metaframe. It was the predominant filter out there in the 60s and 70s. Interesting history behind this, just really quick. It started as Potts Aquarium, was actually a fish store in the 30s. They started making tanks. They got rid of their fish store and just made tanks alone. Changed the name to the Metaframe Aquarium Company. Then that later became Metaframe. In the 50s, Wilness, which was a different company that made filters and heaters and everything else. Wilness was Willinger and Nestler. They actually were quite a big predominant aquarium company, and they bought out Metaframe in probably late 50s, early 60s maybe. Eventually, they actually adopted the Metaframe name. They got rid of the Wilness name. Then in Metaframe, actually, they decided to take it public. And I don't know if it actually succeeded in going public or not, but it was called Aquariums Inc. It may have been public for a short period of time. And then the Mattel Toy Company bought them. Believe it or not, Metaframe was owned by Mattel Toys. Mattel had it for a few years, advertised it everywhere. Life magazine, full-page ads, everywhere was Metaframe advertised. Then Mattel all of a sudden had a epiphany. They said, wait a minute, we make all our money with Barbie and Hot Wheels. We don't want this stuff anymore. So they got rid of Whammo. All the little companies they bought, they sold off. But Metaframe, they bankrupted. So Mattel bankrupted Metaframe. I know that the Habitrail was bought by, I believe, Hagen. But I think a lot of the other things just basically disappeared off the face of the earth. So quickly, the reason that we bought this one is because this is an unusual large size. In the museum, we've had for many years, we've had some of the small sizes, but we've never had the big size. And if you watch the video in May that is from Eheim, you will see, which is interesting, it says patents pending. But Eheim originally in Germany, and I don't know if they got an international patent or a US patent, but in Germany they developed this magnetic drive where the motor sits outside. It actually slides like that. And ooh, they have a siphon starter. That's very cool. So this is new old stock. This would have been made in the 60s or early 70s, and it would never have been used. Someone bought it and put it away, or it was found abandoned in a warehouse, and that's how this stuff comes up. It's called new old stock, or NOS, if you ever see those words. But I want to show you really quickly. See, there's 3 siphon intakes and the little screen that goes on them. And you even have a little stick. So this hangs on the back of the tank. You fill it with water. And then what you do is you put this in the tank, fill it up, put your thumb on the end, go up like this, and stick it inside the filter. Or if you don't want to get your thumb wet, you just put this after you fill it with water, put it up in here, take that off, and that keeps the siphon in the intake tubes. Then you've got the bottom plate here, and this is what I want to show you. So you've got the pump with a motor with a magnet, and then you've got the impeller here with the other magnet. So there's the impeller, and it's got a magnet on it. And Eheim developed this, but I don't know if they didn't get a patent in the US or not. But they were the first ones to come out with magnet drive. And so this goes on the bottom, and that motor basically spins, and it spins that magnet, and then you've got your outtake tubes. So you've got these tubes that basically And this looks like this has 2 outtakes, which is really interesting. So you've got 3 intakes and 2 outtakes, which is basically what the big one would do. And this is unusual. And when they were back in the day, when basically Mattel Toys had bought them, they had Living World as the trademark. So Metaframe was the company name, but they changed, they made this Living World as their trademark name. And that was only when Mattel owned them. Only Mattel. No one else used this Living World but Mattel. So that is the Dynaflo filter. So I hope you liked it, and we'll have more on Metaframe later. I want to do a whole video on Metaframe because there's so many facets to it. It's really an interesting company. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. And again, see you next week.